Hey everyone, how's it going? It's me, Larry the Batman fan here, and I'm back with another video. This has been a long overdue video. I know a lot of people have wanted to see my PlayStation 1 collection. This is going to be an updated version of it because what I did over the past several months is I bought a couple of lots from random sellers on eBay and accumulated 120 games for my PS1 collection. Now, unfortunately, the games that I had for the PS1 collection, games like Tekken 3, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, my original copy of Spyro Year of the Dragon, or Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon, as some would call it, and a handful of other titles, they were just too scratched up and they had disc rot. So Matthew, unfortunately, was not able to fix them. He sent them back to me, but when I tried them out on the PlayStation 2 over here, they wouldn't work. So I had to throw them out. Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX, the PS1 version, I had to throw that out. So I no longer have those games. Just keep that in mind. Also, I needed to say this as well, that there's still about 20 games in here that I haven't had a chance to play yet because I'm working full time. So, being that I've been working full time, I just haven't had the time to play them all. I had a few games that wouldn't play on my PS2 that I actually had to hook up the PS3 and play them on that, such as Heart of Darkness and Parasite Eve. They would not play on my PS2 for some reason. It kept saying that the disc could not be read. But Parasite Eve is lightly scratched. The disc is still playable, even though it's lightly scratched. And Heart of Darkness was in flawless condition. But for some reason, it wouldn't play on the PS2. But it was also which is a shame, by the way, but it was also the last game that I picked up for the PS1 collection. So just keep that in mind. And there isn't a lot of fighting games in this box here that I got on the floor. Just one fighting game that I picked up separately. I just bought it separately because the lots didn't have a lot of fighting games in there. It was a lot of sports games and racing games, and you might get a Crash Bandicoot game or a Spyro game in there, here and there, So it was kind of a crapshoot. There were a few games that I had to buy individually because they didn't have them in the lots, and I wasn't going to buy a lot of games where I have the majority of the titles. And I do have about 10 titles that are duplicates, but those I'm going to be selling on my eBay. So those will not be shown in the video, but they're over there on the shelf. Well, anyways, I don't want to waste any more time. We're at 3 minutes here, so we want to get started. Y'all want me to shut up and show you the games, I'm sure. So let's get to it. Now, also keep in mind that some of these games I have loose disc. Some of them are complete with the case, manual, and cover art, and the disc. And some of them I just have the case for, but no disc, or they're missing a manual. And the reason that is because one seller I bought 28 games off of one seller. The majority of those games had medium scratches on it to high amounts of scratches. I don't know. I should have checked on that, but it was in acceptable condition. So now I don't buy acceptable condition games on eBay because they're usually in poor shape. So I sent those games to Gimpy Ninja Gaming, Matthew. That's his real name, Matthew. I'm not going to give you his address or his last name or anything. That would be wrong. That'd be doxing. But his name's Matthew. And Matthew, if you're watching this video, just know I still want my games back, man. I was expecting you to repair them and send them back my way so I could enjoy them. I can't enjoy them if I don't have them. So hopefully he'll get off his high horse and send those games back to me, because I'm waiting for about 20 something games to come back to me, and they haven't come back to me yet. It's been over a month. What is going on? I don't know what is going on, but come on, Matthew, come through and please send them my way. Well, anyway, we wasted 4 minutes here. Let's just get to it. I'll show you guys what I got. There will be commentary on some games, but the ones I haven't played, I can't really say anything about. Starters, we have a good title. We have Spyro the Dragon. Played this as a little kid. I didn't own it as a kid. I only had the NES and a Game Boy Color when I was a kid. That's all I had. I didn't have a PlayStation 1 or an N64. Well, I got an N64 later on, like 2000 or something, but I didn't have a PlayStation 1, so I couldn't play this game, you know. But it is a great platformer game. The hype of Spyro is there. A lot of people that said that Spyro is awesome, they are not lying. This game is fun. It's a great platformer game. You play as a dragon, you breathe fire at your enemies, and collect the little jewels, the little gem pieces. And you have this little dragonfly that follows you around named Sparks in the game. He's your friend. You got a few other people that you talk to, like Hunter and that giant dinosaur. Or there's a couple of them that you come across. And it's just a really great game. A really good platform. I love the level exploring. You get to this one spot, this hub, go through. It just doesn't like go black, like a black screen, and then just you're in the next world. No, it actually shows the animation of Spyro flying through the air with his, wings on his back, going like this, just powering through. And it's like that for about a minute and a half, and then you finally get to the next level. That was cool. This is a very good game. I recommend it. I think we'll go ahead and show this next. This is, oh yeah, I got this off of TJ Buys and Sells. I got Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage. He put it in this case. I added this sleeve thing here since the case is a little bit messed up. And I also gave it a little print thing here with the, a piece of tape, and I put the title on there since I didn't have this game complete. But Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, just as good as the first game. Excellent title. Improved upon the worlds, making it a little bit bigger. More stuff for you to do. You still kill enemies with your fire and headbutt them like this. It's very good. I recommend it. Very fun game. I also do have the third one, but like I said, Matthew has it because when I got the disc in the mail, it was scratched as hell. It was in poor shape. And then, because I'm such a collector, or because I wanted a better copy, I decided to order another one to avoid the hassle of sending them his way. And when I got that copy in the mail, guess what? It was scratched up as well. These eBay sellers, they really suck, man. A lot of them suck. They're not like Matthew, and they're not like Hubchew. If they were like Matthew or Hubchew, then we'd actually be getting somewhere. No scratched up games, man. I hate it when these sellers sell you a scratched up game, or they send you a PSP game in the mail. When you get it, it's broken. I hate that shit. It just pisses me off, man. Anyways, Death Trap Dungeon. This was one Matthew was able to restore. I played a lot of it. It's good. I could have sworn I played this as a kid. You play as some warrior, go around the levels, and you whack shit with your club, beating up bad guys and stuff, and exploring the temples and ruins in the game. There was a little bit of platforming too, where a platform would come out, you have to jump on that, and then as that one's disappearing, the other one pops up, and you gotta jump on that platform till you get to the top. That was pretty cool. Overall, not a bad game. Death Trap Dungeon is pretty fun. Darkstone, this is one of the few RPG games I own for the PlayStation 1. It's pretty good. I didn't play it a whole lot, but from what I did play, I enjoyed what I played. SpongeBob Super Sponge, I could have sworn I have a second copy. I put that in the lot, though, to sell on eBay since I already have a copy. Another one Matthew restored because it was scratched as hell. I wasn't like a huge fan of it, to be honest with y'all. It was a kind of a boring platformer, to be honest. But I do like SpongeBob. growing up, I listened and watched some SpongeBob as a kid, so I do have a soft spot for SpongeBob. But he isn't my favorite like cartoon character of all time, in my personal opinion. But this game was okay. Not as good as the games that were on PS2, like the Revenge of the Flying Dutchman and excuse me, the Battle for Bikini Bottom. Those two were the best games on the PS2, and I think they were on the GameCube as well. I know there was one or two on the Wii, but I heard mixed reviews on those games. This is Thunderstrike 2. Yeah, it's just called Thunderstrike 2. I wasn't sure if there was a subtitle underneath it. I didn't like this game. I'm not really into flying games, so this game wasn't for me personally. I tried to get into flying games, but the only ones that I really can get into is Star Fox and Crimson Skies. All the other flying games, they just bore me for some reason. I just can't get into them. Next up, we have the X-Files. I was a big fan of the X-Files for a long time, but I stopped watching it because it got really demonic. You know, a lot of the creatures and stuff they were fighting were just really demonic and dark. Storylines were really dark and stuff, so I stopped watching it because I'm Christian and I don't want God to judge me for watching stuff like that. But this is the X-Files game for PS1. I have it loose disc, but it was on 4 discs. It was a very long game, so they had to put it on 4 discs. Not really that great, honestly. It actually kind of sucks, in my opinion, the X-Files game on PS1. It did some unique things with the gameplay, like exploring and things like that, but overall, it just wasn't that good of a game. It could have been a lot better. The PS2 X-Files game, Resist or Serve, now that is a good game. That was way, way, way better than this game, to be honest with y'all. And I honestly don't think that they made any other X-Files games after the PS2 game. I could be wrong. Maybe they put one on Game Boy Advance, but I'm just not aware of it. Type that in the comments below. Were there any other X-Files games besides this one on PS1 and the one on the PS2? But, I mean, it had a spooky atmosphere in this game. But just overall, I didn't like the game, you know. It had some unique ideas, but just failed in execution, basically. So that's what I have to say for the X-Files game on PS1. Streak, Hovercraft Racing, good game, not bad. Donald Duck Going Quackers, not a bad platformer game. They also released this on Sega Dreamcast and N64, if you guys are wondering. But it's not bad. It's not a bad platformer game. Next up, I have a survival horror game called D. The first D, not D2. D2 was on Dreamcast, and I think it was exclusive to Dreamcast. First D game was on 3DO, PS1, and Sega Saturn. Surprisingly, I couldn't play this game because the first disc kept fucking up for some reason, so I couldn't play it. But from what I did play of it in the past, he plays a girl named Laura, and it's kind of like a horror puzzle solving type of game. You know, you'll go around a mansion, a spooky mansion. It's really creepy and dark, and you hear somebody call you at a random, Laura, this is your father. Like the first time I heard it, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Holy shit. Wow. Scared the crap out of me. And then I found out it was my dad speaking to me through the walls. I'm like, damn, that's scary. And then after that, shortly after that, what happens is you start exploring that spot you're in, and there are these items you gotta find to unlock a door. You can also climb up these stairs, and every single step that you step up, you hear Laura's feet. It's actually quite creepy if you think about it. This is a horror game done pretty well, honestly. For 1995, I think it came out in 1996. This had to have been a PS1 launch because you can tell the graphics are a bit grainy with this game. But it was good. Definitely scary. If you do get past the first part, I remember when you were in the cutscene, you were running down. There's this big boulder that's coming your way, and you're like scared shitless, and you're like running down from the boulder and everything. Like that was pretty creepy. You know, there's a time limit in this game. It's like if you waste more than I think 2 days to finish everything, you are screwed. You'll die. You know, so you gotta keep checking your clock. Your like watch. You're like when you pause the game, you see the like clock running. You gotta be careful because if it gets to 0, you get game over. You know. Give me a second. I gotta turn the overhead light off since the sun finally came out. Okay, quick drink, and then I'll continue on. I'm not going to talk about each game because this video would just be super duper long. Got my Batman cup. Star Wars Episode 1, Jedi Power Battles, very good game. Underrated, I feel. Not a bad title, I enjoyed it. Crusaders of Might and Magic. This actually came out before Warriors of Might and Magic, which was surprisingly also available on PS1. But they did port the game to the PS2 as well. I have it on PS2. I don't have the PS1 version of it. But from what I played of this game, not a bad game. It's a game where you play as a warrior. You go through the levels. Some people you talk to get to a certain spot. And there are these monsters that you kill in the game. And you also have to like find items and stuff to progress in the game, like potions that help you out, or be like a fire that you gotta burn to open up some door or something. Not bad. Not a bad game. Tiny Toons Plucky's Big Adventure. Kind of sucks. Honestly, not really that great. You want a good Tiny Toons game, play the ones on the NES or the one on Sega Genesis, Buster's Hidden Treasures. Those games kick butt. This one kind of sucks. Action Bass Fishing kind of sucks. Played it for about 10 minutes and turned it off. Could not reel the fishing rod out. Like I pressed like every button on the controller. Couldn't figure out how to reel the fucking fishing rod out. And then at random I did, and then the fucking fish came by and ate the bait and then disappeared. And then I'm like sitting there like this, trying to figure out how am I supposed to reel the hook back in and then reel it back out again. I couldn't figure it out. So that game, it sucked. Sim Theme Park. Not into simulation games. Don't really care for them. I'm not into strategy type of games. Star Wars Masters of Terra Kasai. This game's okay, in my opinion. A lot of people hate this game. I thought it was okay. But the fighting mechanics kind of suck, to be honest. You know, some of the fighting mechanics just unfair. You know, but it wasn't as bad as what people say. Some people hate this game and despise it, says like garbage. It's one of the worst Star Wars games. I thought it was okay, honestly. I thought it was just okay, you know. Tenchu Stealth Assassins. This is a good game. I like this game. Very good. Basically a ninja and you kill people. Awesome. Gex 3, Enter, or Deep Cover Gecko. This is also available on Game Boy Color. I had that as a kid. Although that game got stolen along with some other Game Boy Color, Game Boy original games that I had. That's a story for another video. But yeah, this is a good game. As you can see, it's the first one that has a T for teen rating. That's because there was some suggestive themes in the game. It wasn't just the cartoon violence. There was also suggestive themes. So that's why. But I think the N64 version is still rated E because they didn't put the suggestive themes in the game, so that's why. But it's a good game. It's a good platformer game. I liked it. I played the first one at N64, Enter the Gecko, Gek 64. That one was good too. Never played the second one. I don't know what the second one was on. Was that on PC only or something? Not really sure. Caesar's Palace. Poker game. Never played it. WCW Nitro. This game sucks. I played it. It sucks. As a kid, I thought that this was an okay game. Playing it now, it sucks. Just terrible. Did not hold up well. And Sled Storm, which is also available on PS2. Not a bad game. Pretty fun. Good racing game. Alright, moving on. I have Jet Moto 2. Very good racing game. Very fun. I also had the first one. I like it. Good fun. Good racing game. Spyro 3. Year of the Dragon. Like I said, I only have the case. The disc is with Matthew right now. Grudge Warriors, got this off of Matthew, aka Gimpy Ninja Gaming. Played it a little bit, not bad. It kind of plays like a Twisted Metal game, but in a tank. Not a bad game at all. Actually pretty fun. Razor Racing. Sorry about the glare. Jet Moto, there's the first one. Very good. Can't really help the glare on some of these cases. I do apologize though. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. This had to have been a late release on the PS1 because this game was also on PS2, Xbox, and GameCube. The game's too scratched up and will not play. But I do have this game on GameCube, so I have already experienced it and beaten most of the game. But yeah, I do have it for PS1. That's the only one I have on PS1. I don't have the second game. That's the one everybody raves about when they talk about top 15, top 20, or top 30 PS1 games on YouTube here. They say the second one's the best one. Madden NFL 2000. Madden NFL 2003. Didn't play either one of them. I'm not into Madden. Asteroids. Pretty good game. It's like a 3D version of Asteroids. If you played the Atari 2600 version, just think of it like that, but a 3D version. It's pretty good. Surprisingly, they had a couple of different games that they made 3D, like Frogger, Missile Command. There was a Miss Pac-Man game they made 3D, Frogger 2, and a bunch of others, you know. And some compilation games, too. So, not bad. Moving on. We got a lot to go through here. This is No Man's Hay, I think. Oh, No Man's Haas Racing. There we go. No Man's Haas Racing. H-A-A-S. Or Haas Racing. Not bad. NBA Shootout 2002. I actually did play a little bit of this game. It was okay. I'm not really into basketball games though, and I sucked at this, and I did not win in this game. I was doing so well till about the end of the third quarter, and we started sucking. We started getting like far behind. Like the computer got like up to 50 points, and we were still at like 37 points or something. 35 points. I'm like, fuck. I can't get any further. Every fucking time we would shoot the ball, it always get like a missed shot or something, you know, or if we get like a foul, you know. So, but luckily you can turn off most of the rules in this game to have no holds bar, you know, so that way you're not constantly, oh, goaltending violation, foul violation, pushing violation, you know, crap like that. You can turn that off in this game. You can't do that with newer basketball games that I know of. This one you could, so makes it slightly better than other basketball games, but still, I ain't into basketball. Look at how dark it got again. Jeez. We've been having a really cloudy day, so hopefully this video doesn't turn out too dark. Grind Session. Not a bad skateboarding game. It plays very similar to Tony Hawk, and surprisingly, it's easy to pick up and play. So I actually did enjoy this game. Now I did notice one flaw with Grind Session was it kept playing KRS-One song. A KRS-One song I hear for like 5-6 different times. Like after the 2 minutes, end run, next level, next part, you know, or start up again, the next run is what I meant to say. It would play the same song again and again and again. I'm like, gee, they made a soundtrack based off of one song? What the hell? And then before you know it, just randomly chooses some rock song. I'm like, gee, what happened there? Was that a glitch or something? That's weird. But other than that, it was okay. Not a bad skateboarding game. I didn't mind it. Road Rash 3D, I reviewed this on my channel. I played this a bit. Y'all have seen it. It's good. It's a good game. I like it. You could do so well in this game, and then all of a sudden at random you get whacked in the head with a club and pew, send you flying, and then you crash into the wall, and the next thing you know it, you're not taking first place. It sucks that happens, but it's not a bad game, and it does control pretty well. The bicycle driving is a little bit loose than I'd like it to be, but other than that, it's still an enjoyable game for the most part. Got the other Razor game. I got Razor Freestyle Scooter. Not bad. Plays a little bit like Tony Hawk, but on a scooter. Pretty fun. Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX. I like this game. This was fun. This is a good sports game. Basically Tony Hawk, but on a bicycle, and it works. And it's easy to pick up and play, and it's fun. And you do similar things as Tony Hawk. Like collecting skate letters and, you know, knocking some, like, lamps off their shades or breaking glass or something and getting a pro score and a 6 score. I thought it was pretty good. I like it. Fun game. It's a good game to play if you're bored, too. MX Pure Ride, rather. Not bad, surprisingly. It's actually a competent snowboarding game that is not bad. I recommend it. Who would have thought this game would be good? I thought that this game was going to suck, honestly, because it's like the Cold Water games were the first time, really, that the snowboarding games were well known and that they were actually good. And then the SSX games came in and just made it massive and just fun to play. But this one, not a bad snowboarding game, surprisingly. I was very surprised by that. And I did review that on my channel, too. Test Drive 5, pretty good. Much better than the other Test Drive game I have in here, because that one had a lot of pop-in, and it was very grainy looking. Snowcross, snowmobile racing game. That was fun. Siberia, this game sucks. Do not buy it. It sucks. I wanted to see how bad this game was. It sucks. It is terrible. Do not buy it. I got it for like $10. Not worth $10. Rampage World Tour, I just have the case. I played this on N64. It's a good game. I like it. Good beat 'em up game. You play these monsters and you pick people up. You eat them. You also smash buildings and stuff. It was fun. Alright, got another stack going here. Kiss Pinball. Frogger, this is what I was talking about, the 3D Frogger game on PlayStation 1. I think it was also on Dreamcast. Not a bad game. Pretty fun for a 3D Frogger game. Plays very similar to the Atari game, but just that it's in 3D. Of course, you can't have a PlayStation without having Crash Bandicoot. I have all the Crash Bandicoot games on PlayStation 1 except the first game. I'm missing the first game. Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back, very good game. Definitely recommend it. It's definitely a fun time. Hang on a second. Sorry, I just had to let a little light in here because it was really dark in here. It's been a very cloudy day today. But yeah, that Crash Bandicoot game's good. I also do have Crash Bash, Crash Team Racing, and Crash Bandicoot 3. I had to send Crash Bash and Crash Bandicoot 3 to Matthew because they were too scratched up. Next up we have Dino Crisis. I got this off of Matthew, Gimpy Ninja Gaming. Thank you for that. I played this. From what I have played of it, I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was a really good game. Really good and fun survival horror game. Definitely worth the money. It's not cheap though. A complete copy is like $50, $60. But it's worth the money. It's good, you know. Second game is even more expensive, and I did want to get the second game. When I found it off a seller that had it for an affordable price, though, the disc was scratched up. And then the seller gave me like a 10% discount and said, hey man, you want it for this price? And I saw it was originally wanted $90. Then he's trying to sell it to me for I think $75 or $80. I'm like, nah man, I'll pass. Unless it was like $20 or $30. I just wouldn't be worth it to me because it's scratched. Mech Warrior 2. That's one I haven't played yet. Cool Borders 2. I remember asking Matthew to get me all the Cool Borders games. Fortunately, he didn't have the first one. And Cool Borders 2001, because it was disc only, I gave it to Jacko Goldkick as a Christmas gift. So I don't have that one anymore. I can get another copy for cheap though. But I would like to pay no more than like $8 for it. But a lot of sellers are trying to get $15 or $13 or $14 for it. It's a little high for my price for a sports game. Cool Borders 3. And of course, I'm a collector, so I got Cool Borders 4. These are all really fun snowboarding games. Contra Legacy of War. Never played it. Haven't had a chance to play it. Look forward to playing it eventually. Busted Move 99. This game was heavily scratched up. I think. Yeah. I don't have it in the case. I had to send that to Matthew. So. Powerboat Racing. This was one of the first games I played on PlayStation 1 as a kid. I played this at my friend Alicia's house. Alicia is no longer here. I don't know what happened to her. But I remember playing this game. And for the longest time I was like, what is the name of that boat racing game that I played as a kid? Along with Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and the Rugrats games. And then I looked it up and this is what it was. And I was like, oh, okay, I gotta get this game. I got it, and I really enjoy the game. It's fun. Although the graphics are outdated, according to today's standards, because the water effects don't look as realistic as they do on PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 with water effects. but for its time it was excellent. Putter golf. And we're not done. It's still got more to show. Final Fantasy IX, very good game. Awesome. Great RPG title for the PS1. Considered one of the best games on the PS1. Pitfall 3D. Have not played it. Air Hockey. I have not played that either. Uprising X. I tried to play this on my PS2 but it wouldn't play. So I guess I'm going to have to try this on my PS3 and see what I think about it. I've never played it before. This is a collection of Activision classic games for the Atari 2600, which has a bunch of Atari 2600 games on it. You get a whole bunch of different ones. You get Pitfall, Kaboom, River Raid, Keystone Capers, Laser Blast, Pitfall 2, Tennis, Star Master, Skiing, Sky Jinx, and a bunch of others. I'm not going to read all of them. That'll take forever. But you can see them right there. This game's kind of obsolete when you could get the PS2 version of the game, the Activision Anthology. That one's a little bit better. That one I think has a little bit more games. This might be one I throw in for Zachary actually, because I don't really need this game since I have the PS2 one. So let's set that aside for Mr. Zachary. Alright, I'm going to sit back now because, man, my back's killing me. Got Gran Turismo 2. I am not no fan of Gran Turismo, to be honest with y'all. I can't stand Gran Turismo. But it's here in my collection because of a lot. Q*bert. Basically a 3D Q*bert. Originally on the Atari 2600, but later on the NES. I played the NES version when I was a kid. Not a bad 3D game. Although it is a little bit frustrating. Monopoly. Hey everyone, I'm back with the video here. We're going to continue on. I had to stop for a few minutes, stop recording, because I had to use the bathroom. But I am back. So let's go ahead and continue with this PS1 collection. I'm pretty sure I showed the first game. I might not have shown the first game, but I have the first game. I got the second one right here, Siphon Filter 2. Great game, great third-person shooter game in the franchise. It's a shame that we haven't had a Siphon Filter game since the PSP days. You know, Logan Shadows and Dark Mirror, which were also available on the PS2, but they had them for the PSP as well. That was the last time we saw them. That was back in like 2008, I believe, or 2009. But yeah, great game. Definitely a good third-person shooter. This next one is Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22. Pretty easy, to be honest with y'all. It's a pretty easy game. Very easy to beat, honestly. Not a bad fighting game, though, for Dragon Ball Z fans. I'm not really a big, like, anime fan, to be honest with y'all. But I'll admit that this game, it isn't bad. It has some, it's pretty fun, to be honest with y'all. Battle Stations, have not played it. NASCAR 99, I might actually have this on the N64 as well. I'm not no fan of NASCAR video games. Never played it though. At least, I don't think I played that version. I played the N64 version. Just not a fan. The next Tetris, have not played it yet, but I know what it is. It's Tetris, basically, so it's probably fun, you know, for a Tetris game. 3D Tetris game. Alright, we're not done. Still got a whole bunch of games in the box here. We got Pipe Dreams 3D, another puzzle game. I had the one on the NES as well. And when I played that game, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, honestly. I couldn't really get into it. Oh, this is just a loose case. Probably because I had this game in there. I kept the manual just to show you all I had the game, but I didn't keep the game because it's witchcraft. But just to show you, I had the manual. Now I'm going to throw the manual away because we don't do Harry Potter. Final Fantasy VIII. Very good game. A lot of fun. Good role-playing game. Code Museum 3. Good game. I have like 3 copies of this game, surprisingly. It's got a bunch of classic games. Miss Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Galaxian or Galaxian, however you pronounce it. Pole Position 2, Phazon or Phazon, and the Tower of Droga. And I think it has the original Pac-Man on here as well. You know. And there's also a museum you can walk through in this game, which is interesting. They added that into this game, you know. But it's just for show, just like looking at pictures and things like that. So it's nothing really special. You get bored after like 10 minutes of walking around looking at it. But other than that, yeah, good game. But it commits one mortal sin. No Rally X. Why? Why is there no Rally X? Needs Rally X. That's my favorite game. Missile Command, 3D version of Missile Command, not bad. Pretty good. Delta Force Urban Warfare, I got this game for myself. I also got a copy for Jack Gold Kick. It's a good game. It's a good first-person shooter game on the PS1. It's highly underrated. Not very many people talk about it. Excellent game. Motocross Mania. I know Fort Fire, who is a YouTuber, he spells fire with a Y, said he hates this game. He says that Motocross Mania, the first one, is complete dog shit. Well, I don't agree with that, because when I played of it, I actually did enjoy what I played of this game. I thought it was a pretty fun game. However, the first 2 motocross games have no combat in them whatsoever. That's probably why the third game was rated T and the first 2 were rated E, because there was no hitting people in the head with bats and clubs and stuff like that. They kind of changed Motocross Mania with the third game. And honestly, that was the first one that I actually played. I didn't play the first 2. I played the third one first. I don't know why that is, but it seems to happen to me a lot, even with movies. Like, I see the third movie first, and then I go back and watch the first, and then the second. Or I see the second one first, and then after that I see the third one, and then I have to go all the way back and watch them in order. It's crazy. Beyblade, never played it, don't really care to play it. Not into Beyblade, so yeah. I only have that because it was part of a lot. I had a bunch of games in there. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Missing the back. Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer! Let me try again. Hi everyone, welcome to Ridge Racer! Yeah, good game. Fun racing game. First of its kind too for Ridge Racer. That was the very first one. We're not done. Cabela's Big Game Hunter Ultimate Challenge. Don't like the Cabela games. Tomb Raider 3. I also have the first 2 in here somewhere. I don't have the back for that. The Tomb Raider games are fun, but one problem with going back to the PS1 games, I will say, those controls are terrible. Like, how can anybody deal with that? Like, when you walk forward, you walk normal. When you walk backwards, you jump. just ridiculous. A lot of times I've fallen off platforms because of that asinine, backwards ass control. I hated that. But other than that, they're good games. Tomorrow Never Dies, James Bond, not a bad third-person shooter, not a bad licensed game, to be honest with y'all. Not bad. Test Drive Off-Road, as I said before, good game, but it's got a lot of graininess to it, going back to it now, and there's a lot of popping, like a lot of hills and things like that, trees that weren't there, and then when you drive past it, it's there. Just the frame rate in this game is terrible, you know. The popping in this game is awful. It's a lot better with Test Drive 5. I gotta sit back. Got Tomb Raider 1. Missing the back. I actually had to buy another copy of this off of DK Oldies because the copy that I originally had got too scratched up and disc rot. So I got another copy and then just stuck it in there since I had the manual. 10 Pin Alley. Very crappy bowling game. In my opinion, very crappy. Did not enjoy that very much. But it was amusing to play as an old lady and go bowling. That was kind of funny. ATV Quad Power Racing. Good game. Billiards. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 3. I actually got this with the Power Boat Racing game. They had it in a lot. It was like 3 or 4 racing games, and I got all of them together. I was most excited for Power Boat Racing, but I was like, it's like $25 or so. I'm like, I'll just get them all. Alone, Power Boat Racing was about a $15 game, so I figured, I'll do it. Miss Pac-Man Maze Madness. I have not played it yet. I know this game was also available on N64. It's probably just a 3D Miss Pac-Man game. Chrono Cross, very good RPG game. Surprisingly, I got this off of Gimpy Ninja Gaming, Matthew. And I really like this game. It's a good game. This is back when Square Enix was Squaresoft, if you can see that. But really good RPG. Definitely glad to have that in the collection. Here it is. Here's Tomb Raider 2, which I already talked about a bit. It's a 3D version of Pong. Like I said, there's so many different Atari conversions here. Compilations and stuff like Frogger, Missile Command, Pong, Asteroids, Frogger 2, and a 3D Pitfall game, as y'all have seen. I've got most of them. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 more that they've done 3D versions for PlayStation. Next up is one that Matthew got for me, a request from him, and I was really glad that he did get it. It's The Legend of Dragoon. When he got this game originally, the seller forgot to give him the right disc or something, or it was scratched. So I have all 4 discs and the manual, as you can see. But they look like this. Like they have this, disc 1 and disc 2. And then disc 3 and disc 4 are like this. So I think one of the versions was the greatest hits version. He just did that because the seller that I think sold it to him before he gave it to me sold him a messed up disc, like it was really scratched, 1 or 2 of the discs, or was missing a disc. So that's how I ended up with that. But nevertheless, don't really care. I just am glad to have the game and that it's in good shape. And this is an awesome RPG game. One of the best games on the system. WWF SmackDown. I made a custom case because Matthew, when he sent it to me, just sent me the disc because it was disc only. But it's a good wrestling game. Probably the best wrestling game we got for the PlayStation, other than its sequel, SmackDown 2. I know WWF Warzone wasn't bad for PlayStation 1, but it's also available on N64 and possibly Dreamcast. A lot of the wrestling games that were on PlayStation 1, they're ass. They suck. They're not very good. This one and the SmackDown 2, pretty good. Alright, we're almost done. The last thing I got to show are just a bunch of cases because Matthew has most of these. Let's see, we've got Bomberman. A Bug's Life, which I did play because Alicia back in the day had this game. It's a good licensed game. I enjoyed this game. It's not a bad movie tie-in video game. Back when they could actually make good movie tie-in games. Although then again, I say that there's no good movie tie-in games, and then they made World War Z like 6 or 7 years ago. So that game wasn't bad, but a lot of times movie tie-in games, they tend to suck. Road Rash Jailbreak, I actually did get to play this before I sent it to Matthew. It did skip a little bit, but from what I played, it was pretty fun for a Road Rash game. I enjoyed it. Well, this one I actually do have in the case. Siphon Filter, this is the first one. A little rough around the edges according to today standards, but still pretty good game. Good third-person shooter. It's a little bit of trial and error in that game too. Trying to find out where to go. Rayman, there's the first one. Not quite 3D from what I played of it. Like 2D and a half. The second game rather really made it more 3D. And the third game on PS2, that made it even more 3D with better graphics. So this isn't quite 3D, it's 2D and a half, side-scrolling, climbing up trees and stuff and whacking enemies and stuff. It's pretty fun. Good platformer game. Just that it's not quite 3D. Ready to Rumble Boxing, the first one. I don't have the disc, like I said, it was really scratched. Twisted Metal 3. Parasite Eve, great game. You play as a girl named Aya Bria, goes to a concert in the game, and then as everybody's in the concert, there's this sorcerer, this female witch, who basically, when the singing goes like apeshit, kills everybody in there. Although Aya Bria somehow survives, and then you gotta fight that lady, tell her to freeze. You're under arrest because she's a cop in this game. You fight that lady, but then somehow she gets away and disappears, and then you have to explore the areas. I tell you, there's some freaky things in this game. There's a rat that mutates in the game. Very freaky. The environments are very freaky and scary at times. They look beautiful, though, for a PS1 game. I mean, they don't look as good as they used to, but for a game that came out in 1998, they look beautiful for its time. A lot of exploring in the game, a lot of things to do. Certain areas you explore, you try to find a key to open up a door that's locked. There's a little bit of backtracking in the game, which I hate, but it works for this game. It makes sense why you have to backtrack a little bit to progress. But overall, I really like this game. This is one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 1. I was really glad that Matthew got this game for me. It was a good request. I'm glad he fulfilled that request because I've been enjoying this game. It will not play on my PS2, so I had to play it on my PS3. Thank God the thing has internal memory, otherwise I'd have to start from the very beginning. But because it does have internal memory, I don't need the memory card, and I can progress through the game pretty easily. You know, good game. I recommend it. That's one I recommend Jack of Gold Kick pick up. It's a RPG game, but it focuses on the survival horror aspect a little bit more. plus you get to play as a female cop. Almost there. WCW versus NWO Thunder. Kind of sucks. Not very good. And I made a custom-made case for it. Forsaken on PlayStation 1. Basically a hovercraft, first-person shooter type of game, or third-person shooter. Not bad. It was also available on N64 and I think Sega Dreamcast. NFL Game Day 98. These are some I have just the case. Medal of Honor. Good first-person shooter game on the PS1. This one is Hot Shots Golf. The Hot Shots Golf games are okay because they focus more on the fun aspect than Tiger Woods, which doesn't focus so much on the fun aspect. Motor Racer World Tour, pretty good game. Good racing game. That was fun. Good fun racing, motorcycle racing game rather. One Extreme. That wasn't a bad sports game. Kind of combines some combat in it along with racing. It's kind of all three genres mixed into one. Basically, think of like Cool Borders and Tony Hawk mixed together, and Skitchin, that game for Sega Genesis. All three of them mixed up into one game, a sports title, but then add like punching and kicking in the game and racing. It works. And add Need for Speed in there for genres. So it has all three genres in one. Spyro the Dragon. Okay, I got the case. That's right, I got 2 copies of that game. Here's Crash Bash. There you go. So that way you know I have Crash Bash, even though it's not in the case. Medal of Honor Underground. This game I actually had to switch out the case because when I got the case it was like some crappy Blockbuster case. So I had to take the back out, put it in a CD case just to get it to look more official. The only thing it didn't have was the manual. We're almost there. Almost there. Got a couple left. Crash Team Racing, great game. A lot of fun. Great racing game. I definitely recommend it if you guys have a PS1 or a PS2. It's a fun racing game. Crash Bandicoot. Centipede, a 3D Centipede game. Very fun game. Definitely recommend that. Tekken 2. This is a good fighting game for the PS1. Definitely recommend that. I bought that one separately from a lot of these other games. That was one of the last games I picked up for my PS1 collection. Star Wars Rebel Assault. And then the original Gran Turismo, which is taped up because the case was cracked and broken. I bought it off the seller that sold me the 28 games. This was in there. Don't have the game in the case. I had to send that to Matt because it was really scratched. And that's it. Those are all of my PS1 games. What'd you guys think? Were there any titles in there I should have had? I know a lot of y'all are going to say, where's Resident Evil 2? Where's Castlevania Symphony of the Night? And where's Silent Hill? Why don't you have that in there? Or where's Final Fantasy 7? I know I don't own those titles. I know. I don't own them. Don't shoot me. Don't get pissed off. I have what I have here. And I'm not going to collect any more PS1 games right now. Just can't. My money's tight. But let me know what you think of my collection in the comment section below. And God bless you all. I hope you guys enjoyed this collection. I know it was long overdue. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Take care. See you later. Larry the Batman fan signing off. Peace.